Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our live session of parent education, what the value of parent education is. And I've also got with me online parents that have gone through parent education in the form of attending the program parent effectiveness training that I teach. And they will be sharing with us how their experience has been, how parent education has impacted their parenting and their family life. So welcome Tabiso and Tatechani, Tsegofatso, Nolwazi, and Nabita. Is it possible for you guys to put on your videos?
I know mine. The camera. It's a long story.
Okay.
And I'm load shedding, so it's very dark.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, thanks. So those that can put on their videos, it would help a lot so that we have an alive space. So parent education, right? It's quite an interesting topic. I've been met with a lot of interesting responses as soon as I tell people what I do, the work that I do, that I journey with parents in education and in coaching. And some of the responses that I get is parenting is instinctual. You can't teach a person to parent. And you know, just a whole lot of, it's a trial and error journey. So why go learn, and all of those responses. And today I just want to share with you my journey of where I started with parent education, where my family started with parent education. So it started back, just hold on, I just need the noise that's in the background. Guys, noise. So where my family and I started with parent education, and I actually got introduced to parent effectiveness training, was back when our eldest son was 3 years, and we were experiencing major behavior challenges. He would have extreme tantrums, and it was a struggle both at home and at school. And it got to a point where the school really was pressurizing us to do something about it. We had gone to psychologists, we had done play therapy, and none of those solutions were helping us. And so I got referred to say, okay, there's this course called Parent Effectiveness Training, go attend it. And I went and attended, and here, I remember when I was telling someone this story, she laughed at me. She said, so you had to go and be taught to be a parent. So yes, I had to be referred to go learn how to parent. And I am thankful that I was taken down that journey to attend parent effectiveness training, because I got to understand, or I got to be aware of what I did not know as a parent. And at that time, I was not even much of a reader that I'm reading right now, or wouldn't have even picked up a book on parenting. And it just opened up my awareness on those, you know, aspects of, as a parent, as I am joining with my kids, to pick up such material, such books, to read on parenting, to learn more about myself, to learn more about kids, you know. The joys of parenting, right? So today we're going to be talking about maybe let me take a step back and say, what is parent education? What is parent education? Is it teaching people how to be parent? Is it telling you how to discipline your child? Is it dictating and changing and turning around your parenting philosophy altogether? And there's a few definitions that define, okay, if my PowerPoint can just open, that define what parent effectiveness is. Not parent effectiveness, but parent education is. And it says it's an intentional effort to empower and educate parents on how to effectively care for children for holistic development. So it's not just for physical or survival development, but for holistic development. So what we mean by holistic development, so it looks at the physical, the emotional, and the mental side of a child. And for a child to thrive, not just academically, but to thrive in all areas of their life. You know, it's become a growing awareness in society that many social problems are as a result of inadequate parent education. So parents are not automatically equipped to deal with the challenges of child rearing, right? So moreover, with the social challenges that we find ourselves in, put more pressure on families and on parenting. Both mother and father are working now. We're working demanding hours. Unlike the environment where we grew up in a community where it's everyone has access to everyone in the community, we are now more living like silos in our family structures. So we are more alone than we used to be, and those are some of the dynamics that brings in the difficulties into our parenting. Right, there's so much more behavior challenges that we're experiencing with our kids than we would say when we were growing up. So the social aspects have changed so much. The human behavior aspects have shifted so much that are challenging us and making parenting so much more difficult. And there's also research that shows that holistic raising of kids is also possessing skills such as verbal and non-verbal communication for them to be effective communicators of their own feelings and their thoughts, right? For them to be able to be self-responsible and respectful, for them to be able to make decisions and problem solve by themselves. And those are the skills that don't necessarily come instinctually for us as parents to be able to provide for them to develop those. Remember, the development of kids starts at home, at foundation. So all of these needs that they have for them to be able to develop their ability to problem solve, their ability to manage their feelings and their thoughts, their ability to self-manage, the ability to communicate clearly what their thoughts are, what their feelings are some of the skills that we need to support them to develop at home. And we find that we don't necessarily have those skills as parents. And that's what I learned when I went through my own journey of parent education. And that's where parent education comes in, right? And I want to project this. I'm not able to project, but it's fine. So that's where parent education comes in to support us as parents. So there's a quote here that says, "Love is instinctual, skills are not." That's by Tracy Trotner. That love is instinctual, yes, but skills are not, right? So I really do struggle with technology. because I want to project this, but maybe while I'm working through that, let me take it to the floor. You know, my guests that I have with me online, just talking on parent education, what your understanding of it was when you came in, some of the thoughts that you had, you know, and some of the thoughts that you've had to work through to go through the process of parent education, and what motivated you to say yes, you know, to going on to the journey. Tseho?
Me. Do I need to introduce myself?
You can.
All right. So I am Tseho. And basically, what pushed me to go on this journey, all I knew was I started this in 2019.
Mm.
All I knew was I had a 3-year-old and it felt like she was just uncontrollable. And I realized that I'm probably lacking some skills somehow to be able to work with her or deal with her effectively as a parent. I have 2 kids. So the brother was 8 or 9 at the time, but they are completely different. So the brother is more soft-spoken, he is more calm, and the sister I just felt like she's going crazy. So I felt, look, I realized that I don't have the skill to deal with this. Maybe I should learn. And in learning, hopefully that will make me a better parent to both of them, because I had concerns with the older one as well, but it wasn't as bad as I had with the little one. So I realized that, listen, it's pointless sitting there and saying it's maternal, while looking at the world that we live in and the type of adults, I suppose, that our parents have been raising. And I realized that, listen, there are some skills that I lacked. So maybe it's better to learn. It's not going to hurt to learn.
Mm.
So that's why I went on the journey. I started the journey.
Mm. Thank you. Nolwazi?
Evening. My name is Nolwazi. Melo, I'm gonna need you to keep it down, eh? So when I started, my son, I think he was like probably a year, Munelwa. Yeah. I think just a year old. He couldn't speak, but a friend of mine basically said, "Friend, let's do this course together. It will help us in the long run." And yeah, so basically then it was more of a learning for me. And I would say now he's 3 and we're actually able to communicate with him. He's basically what the course encouraged was me to talk to him as a person who understands. Use not such big words, but use words that he will understand, and also demonstrate the behaviors that I feel are unacceptable, and also encourage the ones that are acceptable. So he knows what is acceptable, what is not. Right now, it's load shedding, and he's very excited because it's dark. So, but yeah, I think it has helped a lot. And he talks, he expresses himself, and I think it's easier that way when you understand what your child needs from you. And when something is uncomfortable for him, he's able to express. So yeah, that's how the course for me helped.
Yeah. Thanks, Nolazi. Before I go to Nambita and Ntate-chan, I just want you to, to bring in to see that the age group that the parents started at, at early childhood. Why would you want to start your child at early childhood? Because that's where the happens, right? That's where skills, and it becomes the way of life when you start at childhood, and it's a foundation that will become even more beneficial when they get to teenage stage, where you actually do need these skills, where you do need to live off these skills. So we start at early childhood because that's where the foundation, that's where the richness comes from. And it does say in research that the formative years are any age before the age of 7. So anything that you do before the age of 7 is what will stick, and that's what will manifest into our teenage years. So I just wanted you to realize that the ages that the parents started as, Nolwazi started at the age of 1. I know a parent that started while they were still even pregnant, because that sets you on an informed footing. Ntate-chan, I just want to hear from you. What has been your experience as being, the support? Because you have not gone through the process, but you have been with me on the journey of living the skills and knowledge that comes from parent education. How has the experience been for you?
I think also with me, I was talking about it when Tsibo was giving us, all those bana ba batla hola hore, it's just a stage, but it has helped me with communicating with kids, even when sometimes you are frustrated or when you are angry. We would act out the way our parents would act out towards us, towards one. And I realized it has taught me it's better to treat the child as like an adult and talk to them like an adult. Just tell them what their actions are doing to whatever they are relevant to. But speak to them and try to explain, to say, this is what you are doing, and this I don't like, and this is the reason why I don't like what you're doing, and this is how it's going to affect your life, or it's going to affect my life. So, and I can give myself a star. I think I've improved greatly. Yeah, there can be those, there are those days, when parents have their own issues and you just lose it. I was laughing the other time when I went back and I actually apologized to both of our sons. To say when Tori, so to say I'm sorry, I was not in a good space and whatnot. And we're driving to school, and they even engaged further. They showed me that they also understand, that I have issues and they're also a stress, and they will try to improve. So it's such a better relationship. It's not a job. It's such a much better relationship, and I can see it even getting better. Yeah.
Thank you. Nambita?
Yeah, I think I will agree with everyone, especially Ntate-chan. From my experience, the reason why I started was I started the journey of parenting with how I was raised, and I think Ntate Muntlung did the same. So the way we went into it is basically, you know, the shouting, the punishing, all of those kind of things. And it didn't take long for us to realize, well, this doesn't work, because all we're doing is creating an agitated child. Because once they got to about 2 or 3, you could see almost, it's like almost at that age. And I'm like, no, this can't be normal for a 3-year-old to have that kind of attitude and aggression. And it was almost a picture of basically how we were treating him, that he was coming back to us in that same attitude. And we knew that this can't be the way. This can't be the way that kids should be, you know, parented and all of that. So hence, let's try something new and see where this could take us. And in doing so, I mean, I've come out the other side, not to say now we are perfect in terms of parenting, but the consciousness is there. You know, every time we discipline, or every time we have conversations, or every time I even lose my cool with them, I always go back and, you know, reflect on how could I have done it better? What was the impact of what I just said? How can I apologize? How can I, you know, try to make it right? And the response from the kids' side is amazing, because you can see that that child doesn't want to be an aggressive person, doesn't want to be, you know, motodi attitude and all of that. It's almost like they want to be good. They want their parents to respect them. They want a space that is safe for them to talk. If they want to feel like they can express themselves whichever way they can. And in having a calm approach and having this conscious way of parenting, you allow the kids to do that. And it almost allows for that communication between the kids and the parents. And it allows easy communication. It allows us to be ourselves around each other, actually. And it allows us to just, you know, kind of take out all the negativity around it. And so having all of that at the back of your head consciously, always remembering all the different principles. And the principles are hard. I mean, they are hard. I won't say it's the easiest thing to do, but like everything, like we're in our 30s. So at that point, you know, you're rigid in your way of thinking. So it takes a while for us to get to that point where we flexible enough to try new things. But I honestly think going into this course has helped me readjust my thinking and my approach to the kids. And I've seen a good response from their side, which is really great. Yeah.
I like that. Thank you so much. So there is the relationship part. So part of the benefits of parent education is the peace of mind that comes with it, you know, the mental wellness that comes with it, because there is so much awareness, like Nambita says, the consciousness that you have, and first of all, being conscious of yourself, you know, the triggers that you go through when you're going through your own stress, and being mindful that I am the one that is going through a situation. There is not necessarily anything wrong with what the child is doing or the child's behavior at the moment. So learning how to manage ourselves so that we can be able to be well responsive to our kids. So that's one of the benefits of parent education, the mental wellness that comes with it, and the ease and joy of it. Just takes away all the anxiety that comes with parenting and unnecessary shouting. I totally can relate with Nambita. So I was saying I can totally relate with what Nambita was saying, that when I started my parenting journey, my number one goal was just to have a child that is respectful, that behaves. And by doing the course, I got to understand that it's unrealistic expectation on a child that is still growing and exploring their world. So one of the key benefits of parent education is then understanding what is realistic to expect from a child of a certain age and what's not realistic, and also understanding child behavior and child development, to say what we sometimes also expect at teenage, and that's why we have such breakdowns at teenage, expecting them to operate in an adult level, and whereas they don't yet have a developed ability within themselves to do that, you know, and we going through the terrible twos, what we call the terrible twos, whereas a child is just learning to explore the world around them, learning there's these feelings that are going through me, then they play around with the feelings, right? So with parent education, when you've got the education and the awareness and the knowledge, you understand that your role as a parent in that situation is to support them in developing the effective skills to manage themselves, to manage their emotions, to manage their thoughts, to explore their world safer, but not to suppress and constrain them. Because when we do that, that's when we get to experience children that then act out, right? So the other benefit, I want to go here. The other key benefit of parent education, Loazi, and that's where I just wanted you to share more from your experience when it comes to this key benefit, an increased sense of self-efficacy.
I think just like I said earlier, just being able to communicate with someone who actually understands what you mean when you are not happy with something, and being able to communicate that well with your child, and having him basically understanding what you mean makes it so much better. Like it makes parenting easier, and you're more confident. With that said, is also with confidence is also what from his side as well, where if maybe I can make an example. This weekend, my cousin and I were having a debate. It was a heated debate where he was like, "Mommy and Auntie, you're making a noise. Can you keep it down?" You know, he was then telling us, because now we had our voices raised up, because this is something I would say to him when he's also making a noise around the house. I'm like, "Mommy's still busy. Can you just keep it down a little bit?" So it means that our communication, he understands what I'm saying and understands the implication of what's happening. So that makes parenting easier. It makes me a more confident parent, in that I'm able to communicate so much better with my child, and he's able to do the same with me.
Thank you. So Tsego, I know recently you shared with me some of the interesting breakthroughs in your interaction, your interaction with your daughter when it comes to patience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to talk about that?
Yes.
All right. I suppose it was with our last session when we talked about in terms of active listening, and that you need to ensure that you have the time to actually active listen your kids, and that has really helped, because that was a refresher for me. I had completely forgotten that. So in the past couple of weeks, we've had interactions where we would actually have meetings, which is something that we've never done before. So I would sit down with the both of them, and this was regarding actually sending them to my mom, because lately they don't really want to do that. So I had to sit down with them, actually have a meeting with them, and discuss with them what it is that I need and the reason why I'm asking them to go there. And it was really amazing how you know, like the feedback was really positive. And I think it was just all because I openly communicated with them, openly told them what my needs are, because I think I asked for like 2 days, because I was like, listen, guys, I just need a bit of time. So if you can please just grant me that, I would really appreciate it. So it was really interesting, like having to actually have that kind of conversation with them, communicate openly, and get positive feedback, because what we normally used to is instructions. We always give instructions. We always tell them, listen, this is what you're doing. This is what I'm telling you to do, without actually realizing that you're talking to people. And, you know, they have a mind of their own. They have the ability to understand and process what you're saying to them and actually give you feedback. So that has really helped me a lot with my communication with them. Even now, when we have challenges with regards to school, I can actually sit them down, especially with the older one, and basically ask him, what would you like me to do? Would you like me, if maybe he's having a challenge with his teacher, would you like me to intervene? How far would you like me to intervene? And after I've done that, when he comes back with feedback, then we get into, okay, so this is the feedback that you got from your teacher. This is the feedback that I got from your teacher. Do I go further with this, or are you happy and are you satisfied? And will things be okay for you going forward? So it's really empowering to be able to actually sit down with them and understand from their point of view and how much of a role they want you to play in any situations or problems that they actually experience. So it's really, really empowering.
Thank you. So you touched on the able to, you know, empowering them to be able to make up their own decisions, make their own decisions and direct you in terms of how they want you to support them, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And Nambita, you also, I would like you to just share with us how is parent education and specifically parent effectiveness training, having gone through parent effectiveness training, has helped you in the dynamics of sibling rivalry?
I think from my side, it was trying to understand, you know, we always took sides. So you always kind of find a reason to say this one wasn't at fault or this one. So you always kind of take sides in some way or another without letting them just resolve their issues by themselves. Obviously, it's not nice to see. It's not a pleasant thing to have around the house, and they do go off on a tangent sometimes. But it has helped me to have a calmer approach to the situation. Obviously not coming in screaming and you know, just kind of in a calm way, which allows them to calm down, which allows them to kind of figure out what the situation is between them. And in that way, I've seen that they don't then blame me for whatever's going on. So almost like, I mean, the wording back then would be, but you always take Leho's side, or you always shout at me and not the other one, you know. And which is true, because in some sense you always want the older sibling to understand that let the younger one go, you know, just let it be. And it's kind of helped me approach it in a more calmer way to allow them to hash out whatever it is that they need to hash out. And most of the time I see that they just needed to have a conversation about it, basically, and get to a consensus or whatever it is. Or bangale, which is okay because we are human. It's fine if you go to your room and the other one goes to the room, whatever. It's fine. It's allowable, but you can allow them to feel their feelings, to feel their emotions, whatever that emotion is, and we come back and reconvene and talk about what hurt you, what didn't work for you, and as a family, kind of try find a solution to whatever it is that has happened. I'm not necessarily always going for you are at fault, say sorry, demanding that from kids, and most of the time they're not sorry, but we want them to be sorry, and we want them to say these words. And what I've seen is that it creates some sort of negativity from the other one, the one that needs to say sorry, even though they're not. And it's not a good place. So allow them to feel whatever they're feeling at the moment, and go their separate ways, cool off, and we will deal with it later. Because sometimes you don't have the time anyway.
Thank you for that. Thank you. So yes, one of the key benefits is being able to deal with those sibling rivalries without taking any sides. So hopefully in a few years to come, we won't have these conversations of favoritism, right? Right, of this child was liked more than me, and that's the part that I like
exactly.
about and that's the part that I like about parent effectiveness training specifically, that we know that kids are different. No one child is the same to the other, but because it's basic principles of human behavior and human relationships, of creating relationships as human beings, the skills actually apply to all the kids. I was telling someone the other day that I no longer feel like I have to adjust myself every time with different kids. Of course, I know they're different personalities, but the beauty about parent effectiveness training is that it's basic human skills that apply to all human relationships, that apply to my relationship with my husband as well, and those that I live around me, with my colleagues. So this addresses the factor of, but how can you learn? How can you go into a class and learn when kids are different, right? Seem to be responding, but does anyone want to speak to the respect part? Zero? Zero?
I'm here. I'm wondering what this whole respect. I think I don't know. It'll be an ongoing challenge as we do learn every day, and you don't always get it right the first time. But I know, like for instance, Kamuntu. Look, on my side, I don't know if it's just automatic because somehow I've changed my way of doing things, that I don't feel disrespected, so it's not really such a big factor for me. But I found that Wabona somehow struggles with that balance. In that I think traditionally our husbands or our fathers are the main disciplinarians in the house. And they've kind of been raised that way, I suppose, from their fathers as well. So they tend to put more focus on being the rigid one and being the one that disciplines, not realizing that there's a difference, or maybe there's a thin line between a child that fears you and a child that respects you. But I mean, it's something that we do talk about. If I feel that, okay, I think we are now going a bit overboard, we do sit down and talk about it and say, okay, maybe let's look at approaching the situation differently. And maybe I'm doing it that way as well because I've gone through the training. And yeah, he's somehow my support, but somehow like, yeah, I think it's a journey.
It is.
I don't know. I'm not really. That's it. It's a bit challenging for me because on my side, I don't know if it's automatic because of the way that I'm doing things. But yeah, I feel like for him sometimes he's a bit hard on them, and yeah, without realizing that. Listen, fear, respect, two totally different things. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Fear and respect are two totally different things. And that's the beauty that comes with parent education, and specifically, like I keep saying, in parent effectiveness training, you get to learn that it actually creates disconnection and distance between you and the child. And that's not what you want. You don't want to be disconnected from your child. You don't want your child to feel that you are the last person that they want to go to when they're feeling in trouble. So with education, then it goes back to the key benefit of self-efficacy, feeling confident in yourself. Because when you're feeling confident in yourself, the threat of am I being disrespected or not respected, it's eliminated. I find that most of the time we feel we're being disrespected because I really am guarding my respect. I don't have, if I let it go, I don't have any other way that I can still bring back the respect factor. But when you're feeling confident with the skills and how to set boundaries, how to be clear with what boundaries should not be crossed, then it's much easier to create a connected relationship. We don't have to create disconnection in the name of respect, because the way that it's being done, or the way that it was done when we were growing up, our parents created disconnection with us in the name of us respecting them, that we must fear them, right? When fathers come in, the kids go to sleep. In the kind of environment that we're raising our kids, we actually don't want that. We want our kids to be open with us and to be closer to us, and we be the first points of people that they go to when they need help, when they need us. So we're going to wrap up a little bit. Lwazi, is there something that you want to add that we probably did not touch? I see your mic is on.
I think for me was that the active listening part, how that also just came to be such a big tool when it comes to, like you were saying, not just with the kids, but with your colleagues and even your spouse and your friends as well. So it's sitting back, listening, and letting the people come up with their own answers, because like you were saying, they can solve their own problems if you actually give them a chance to do that. So that's one of the biggest skills that this PET taught me.
Tshego?
Oh, I wanted to touch on the point of improving parental mental health and well-being. It's empowering, you know, to know that you are doing as much as you can for your kids. To know that you are being the best possible parent that you can be for your kids. and knowing that you are actively learning the right tools that will help you, in helping them become the best people that they can be. There's one thing that somebody pointed out to me. Was it last week? It was last week. I was with a friend picking up the kids from school. And I mean, the little one is 6. A simple thing. She got out the car because she needed to go to the loo because we were waiting for her brother. And the lady I was with was like, oh my word, she's so independent, And for me, I then went back to, okay, so why is she that independent if your child who is older than her, it doesn't seem so independent? And then I thought, and I think I said this to her, that, look, if she needs help, she knows that I will assist. If she needs me to walk her to the gate, she'll let me know. But in the meantime, if she's comfortable enough to do it, and I feel comfortable in this space that we are in, then I'm going to let her do what she needs to do. And sometimes I do drop the ball, because I remember the last time I was with you at a park, she was opening a packet of burgers. And I immediately jumped to, let me help you. And you reminded me that, no, let her do it. She'll tell you if she needs assistance with it. So it's those kinds of things that you somehow learn to let go, let them be independent, and let them do their own thing. And that also gives you that peace of mind that, you know what, they're okay. And if there's a problem, then I got them. But other than that, grow, be you, and be the best you.
Yes.
So it's really empowering.
The empowerment. Thank you. Nambita, any concluding comments from your side?
Yeah, I think we need to be open to new things, we need to be open to trying new things and seeing how these, how this can impact our families, our lives, relationships, and so forth. I do think you do need to have an open mind to it, because I mean, even me coming into it, I thought, do I really need to? But once you get into it and have an open mind about it and actually go out and implement some of the things that have been said, you see a difference, you see a change, you see how the kids react differently to you. And I think we just need to have an open mind and try new things. The things that we've always been accustomed to or know don't necessarily mean those are the things that will work in the next generation and the next generation. We need to be flexible and allow our kids to flourish in different environments. So how we flourish does not necessarily mean that's how they're going to flourish. So we just kind of need to, keep up with the game.
Yeah.